Prepare yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 126. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this manuscripted Wednesday evening, Earth date September 20th, 2017. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
Hello, Remington. This is a manuscript talking to you. Please type more.
Wait, is this a typed manuscript?
Requesting type on my supple body. More fonts, please. Give me your wingdings.
Whoa, this escalated quickly, manuscript.
Hey, sorry, man. I was using the bathroom. God damn it, manuscript, get out of here.
Yeah, he was saying some weird shit, dude.
Sorry, go to Helvetica. Come on, manuscript, come on.
Why? Why
that
are
was
you
rough.
That was a rough joke, is what that was.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a work in progress, manuscript is. But, you know, raising kids is always a work in progress.
Yeah. So, now that you've made terrible font jokes, how have you been, buddy?
I've been pretty great, Remington.
Good. Glad to hear it. Everything going smoothly and swimmingly in the world of Brandon?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh, that's
it's
pleasant.
Smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing on the seven seas.
Mm-hmm.
Seven Sisters of the Seven Seas. I was looking at Facebook last night, and I saw something that had been shared around. It looked like it was originally a Reddit post, and how somebody didn't realize that the seven sisters in The Little Mermaid were representative of the seven seas.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So, each sister is representative of one of the seven seas, and then somebody chimed in with, so since the mother isn't around, does that mean the mother represented the Dead Sea? And the last post was, you get the fuck out of here right now.
So was Ariel one of the oceans then?
Yeah, she was the Red Sea.
Because of her red hair.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Ah.
You see what they did there? And now there is the youngest in her musical debut. Our seventh little sister, we're presenting her to you.
So did they live throughout the entire ocean then?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I would assume.
Because, I mean, King Triton was basically Poseidon, right? Like, he was the king of the ocean?
Yeah. He was the king of the seas.
Okay, so yeah, then we can assume in Little Mermaid canon that he ruled all of the oceans.
Yeah, he had dominion over them, but maybe his daughters took care of each little part. I mean,
he went to each ocean and slept with a mermaid from that part of the ocean?
Well, I mean, no, not necessarily. He could have just usurped those other smaller kingdoms and made them into one large kingdom at some point in his life. Or maybe his father, or his father's father, fitter fatter, fiddle faddle.
Perfect.
Delicious.
We're off to a fucking running start, Remington.
I did a lot of coke.
Yeah.
Which is why my nose is itchy and has absolutely nothing to do with allergies.
You're a lot more energetic than you typically are.
I'm trying to keep moving so that the heat doesn't kill me. Yeah,
because your air conditioner's broken, right?
Yes. So our air conditioner is out of Freon, and I'm fairly certain in the state of West Virginia, we're not allowed to replace it ourselves. We have to actually have somebody do that for us. So, yeah, until I can get a quote and get all of that lined up, I guess it's hell in a cell at the moment.
So you need a professional to just dump in some Freon?
Yes, because it's under pressure.
Pressure?
Pressure.
Like coming down on you?
Yes.
Coming down on me?
Yeah.
See, that just seems like a conspiracy from Big Freon that you would need to hire a professional to just fill it. Because Freon just looks like antifreeze, right? Isn't it blue?
Well, antifreeze, as a rule, is not blue. And that is a secondary, that is a dye that they put in there. They're usually antifreeze comes in a green and a pinkish color. Blue is windshield wiper fluid.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I've been smearing antifreeze all over my car windows for quite a while then.
It's like putting transmission fluid or oil into your transmission fluid. Not a good idea.
A good mechanic joke.
Different viscosities. Different heat transfers too. So what have you been up to since I'm sorry, we're going way everywhere, all over the place. I think I've got my ADHD acting up.
We're just padding it out is all it is.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all.
I've got one story, so
we're going to talk a long time about something really freaking weird.
Yes.
And I'm excited about it. That's why I'm so energetic. I'm freaking excited about this. I want to see what
talk about them.
Don't let them even know yet. I mean, I know we let them know in the last episode, but if they're just tuning in, just stick around. It's going to be hot. It's going to be real hot. And by hot, I mean nerdy and weird. That's what I mean by that. So yeah, what have you been up to?
So last week I talked about how I was playing the game.
Don't worry about my faces. Just keep going.
Okay. You looked concerned and frightened a little bit.
I forgot about something. Just keep going. It's good.
Okay. So last week I talked about how I was playing. What did you do?
Nothing. I didn't do anything. I was just laughing at myself. I can't see you. I can't see the faces that you're making at me.
I'm just watching you of curiosity because you have this shit-eating grin on your face. And also like a hint of embarrassed.
It's because I don't know what's going on. Macro buttons, that's what I wanted. I forgot to pull up a thing that will help me to keep the mic levels up and down when I need them to, so you don't hear me drinking out of my drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all this was.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you've been playing a game.
I talked last week about how I was playing Heavy Rain on PlayStation 3, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. The controls were real tanky, but I was going to end up beating it anyway. Well, I ended up beating it.
Okay.
It's about an 8-hour game, and I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. I came around on it. The story was cool. The controls never got any better. Yeah. It was full of quick time events, which I pretty much despise.
Yeah.
And that's a good 50% of the game is quick time events.
So you're talking about like cutscenes interstitched between the gameplay?
Yeah, like a cutscene and something's happening, and then it'll pop up on the screen and be like, hit X, and it's timed. And if you don't hit X in time, you fail that. And it's like a big series of those. Okay,
so similar to like God of War, when that first came out, and that was a big kind of thing.
Yeah, very, very similar as far as that goes. But the game has permadeath, so if one of your characters dies during one of these cutscenes during the QuickTime event, they're just dead for the rest of the story.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different endings, and I ended up doing really well until the very end where you confront the killer, and then my character died to the killer, and the killer ended up escaping.
Ooh, I see.
Yeah.
So that's no fun. I mean, are you going to play through it again and try and see if you can catch the killer?
Maybe at some point. I don't know. There's so many other games for the PlayStation. I'm fucking swimming in games. It is ridiculous the amount of games I own for different systems.
Okay.
I could not buy a game. Literally, I could probably not buy a game for the next 5 years, 10 years, and have stuff to play consistently. So I'm going to just try to work through some of my backlog.
Okay, fair enough.
But I did want to talk about one other thing I've been doing because it is a lot of fun.
Okay.
There's a website. I actually can't remember the name. I'll have to put the link in the show notes. Okay. I totally forgot. What they did, because do you remember GeoCities?
Yeah.
The web hosting that you could get. Everybody could have a free web page on GeoCities or AngelFire back in like the mid 90s to late 90s.
Yeah.
Well, GeoCities ended up selling to Yahoo, and then Yahoo just closed down GeoCities.
Yeah.
So all of those GeoCities sites are just lost. They're gone to time. But there is a website out there that's kind of preserving what's left of it.
Okay.
So they just went through the backlog and are just whole hog preserving all of these sites.
Okay.
So you can go and look through these 1995 era GeoCities sites.
So we're talking like 15K GIFs of fire
Yes.
that just go like this.
Yeah, exactly. MIDI files playing in the background.
Yeah.
Most of the websites you go to, especially the nicer ones, will say this website best viewed with Netscape.
Yeah. When it was really hard for either Netscape or Internet Explorer to tell each other what to look for in a website.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You have to kind of nowadays, not only do you have to look out for which different browsers that are out there. You've got Opera, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Chrome. There's one or two more.
I don't know. I use Chrome pretty much exclusively.
Yeah, so do I. I use Firefox on occasion. And I fucking refuse to use Internet Explorer or its new brother, whatever it's called. What is it called? Do you remember? It's some slick fucking look at us. We're in the year 2015, 2017, 2018. What year is this?
Space browser.
No, it's just like one super slick word like fucking dank. I'm using the dank browser. What is it called, Brandon? I hear you.
Microsoft Edge.
Edge. That's right. Edge. So it's a fucking X generation wrestler apparently.
Get your Chrome out of here, Grandpa. I'm using the Edge.
I'm using the Edge.
I'm using the Edge to search up My Chemical Romance and 21 Pilots. Who's popular now? I don't know.
No, probably not either of those.
Real Big Fish, Grandpa.
Well, then good on you, grandson, because that's the music that this grandpa listens to.
My favorite thing, or one of my favorite things about going to these old GeoCities sites is you'll go, especially the ones that have a better quote production on them, is you'll go to them and it'll say, this site is very intensive on computers. Click here to do the framed version, the version with frames, but only if you have a fast computer. And I'm loading these things up. Like I'll go to some of them and it'll pop up and be like, sorry if it takes a minute for this web page to load. There's a lot of images on here.
Right.
And I'm fucking browsing from my phone and it's just like, boom, pulling up.
Yeah, for sure.
And just in 15, 20 years, how big of a jump there is.
Yeah, it's insane. On your phone, with 4G and maybe spotty 4G out where you are.
Yeah, well, I'm on Wi-Fi. I have my phone connected to my Wi-Fi, but still.
Yeah.
And the MIDI files, I know I told you this in chat, but the MIDI files that all of these sites embedded, they don't play in the background on your phone. They just immediately download.
Yeah. Yeah, you were telling me about that, yeah.
So I went through after browsing on these sites for about an hour. My end goal is I'm hoping to find my old GeoCities sites.
Right, sure.
The chances of it being one that has been, there's fucking thousands, probably tens of thousands that have been hidden. So I go through and I look at like 100 or so every night, just click back and forth.
Yeah, I might have even had one, actually.
Do what?
I might have even had one, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't know what it would have been called. I do not remember.
I had two. I had Arabian Table Dancer.
Yeah.
Which was like where I just wrote random reviews and shit. And then I had another one, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was all Star Wars fan fiction I wrote.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was called the Drunken Ewok or the Ewoks Corner. I had something to do with Ewoks. I don't remember, but
the Drunken Ewok sounds kind of familiar, actually.
I thought it did too. And I was straight edge in high school, so I remember adding drunken in front of stuff was always hilarious.
Yeah, because it was
the drunken Ewok, the drunken whatever.
Yeah, a little dichotomy going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the MIDI files download directly to your phone instead. And after like an hour of browsing, I deleted 55 MIDI files that had downloaded to my phone.
Oh, that's good.
18 of them were the X-Files theme song. Yeah, that's what I found out. I'm browsing specifically the Area 51 GeoCities.
Right.
Because when you got a GeoCities, I totally forgotten about this.
Yeah, you had to pick a server.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And as So I'm going through the Area 51 because I assume that's where I would have put a Star Wars one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's where mine was at too.
But there is so much fucking X-Files. It is crazy how much X-Files there are.
Yeah.
I saved 2 here that I wanted to mention because I thought these were the best of them.
Okay.
I found a website dedicated specifically to Alyssa, Alyssa Milano, the actress.
Of course I know who Alyssa Milano is.
Dedicated specifically to her feet.
Weird. Okay.
It's called Alyssa Milano's Feet. And it was just
Simple,
one page
simple,
with a guy. Okay.
Simple, elegant, to the point. Go.
It was one page. The
Yeah.
guy introduces himself, says, "This is for pictures of Alyssa Milano's feet. I only want pictures if her feet are in them. I don't want Photoshops or dirty pictures. I just want to appreciate her feet." And then it's just a bunch of fucking pictures of Alyssa Milano's feet or where she's sitting where you can see her bare feet. Now, I know that foot fetishes are kind of a more popular fetish.
Yeah.
Whatever, if you're into feet, whatever. It's kind of the wholesomeness of the website, though. Seeing it in like a mid-90s Geocities, just like, hey, I don't want dirty pictures. I just want her feet. The sweet, sweet feet.
Just listen, you weirdos. I don't want her naked. I don't want to put up naked pictures of Alyssa Milano on the internet.
You perverts.
Yeah, what are you fucking? What's wrong with you? Have some respect for the talent. just send me pictures of her feet.
If I get one more naked picture of Alyssa Milano, I'm gonna snap.
I will delete this site outright.
And then the other one I enjoyed was so this site, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes probably. It's definitely not safe for work.
Okay.
It's a guy who is learning Photoshop. And what he does is he Photoshops topless women onto the bodies of horses. So it's an entire website devoted to topless centaur ladies.
Well, I mean, you think that a female centaur would be topless.
Yeah, I guess I could have just said centaur ladies.
Yeah.
Centaur babes.
Yeah.
But he does them in black and white and color.
Okay.
And they're all really tastefully done.
Like,
you're not seeing like sex.
Right. Do they look good? Like, I mean, is the Photoshop quality for the day decent?
Yeah, I mean, it actually looks pretty good.
Well, that's cool. I wonder if this guy went on to do more centaur ladies in his professional career.
I thought it would be cool to try to get a hold of some of these people and see what they're doing now. But then I also feel like that might be a little creepy, right?
Let's go ahead and put the links out, and then people can do that at their own discretion. How about that? If the internet wants to be creeps and try to creep on somebody who made centaur ladies in 1997, then good on them.
The website, I just pulled it up to make sure. It's called Equine Beauties.
Nice.
And the description says, why centauruses? I think that they're the most beautiful of all mythical creatures. They don't exist in reality, but we are free to imagine they're real, like me and you.
Again, see, 1997 was a simpler time.
Yeah, seriously, it's great. Oh, they also have link to their furry site, so I'm guessing that's maybe where they cut their teeth in the furry community.
Yeah, sure. That's awesome. I like how it's tastefully done. Because, I mean, you didn't know where your boundaries were. You know, the internet was still in a fairly fledgling state.
Yeah, it really is. Here, I will send you the link to browse at your leisure for that.
And people, like, they didn't know what they would be allowed to put up, I figure.
I think Geocities was pretty strict with not having nudity, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's really decent.
Yeah, click on the drawings or the black and white. I think the gallery is where he does like actual Photoshop work.
Yeah, I was clicking on the color gallery right there. The black and white one is...
One of them's broken, I think.
Huh.
Like this one that's like a Playboy model with like her halter top pulled up and she's hugging her breasts.
Yeah.
But her body is just a horse out in a field like hanging out. Oh,
or
God.
the black and white one with the Asian who's holding a some sort of fruit. It looks like it's the last one in the black and white gallery.
So it's just, I enjoy looking through these sites. I think it's one of those things about getting older, but it reminds me of a simpler time clicking through those and being like, oh yeah, back when things were free and everybody could have a website.
Yeah.
The thing that's disappointing about it is it seems like they captured most of the websites with their last update.
Yeah.
So a lot of the sites you find, like a pretty decent amount of them, have like Geocities is shutting down. Thanks for all the good memories, guys. Or like, I'll be updating again. Here's a link to my new website. Stuff like that. It's like just walking through a fucking graveyard.
So it's got a bit of sadness to it as well then.
Yeah, a little bit of bittersweet, a little bit of melancholy.
Okay, well that's good. That's good that we had something both good and sad at the same time.
So what about you? You have any interesting stuff?
Yes, I went to the River City Comic-Con.
Tell me more.
And did a panel.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make that.
A sci-fi panel.
How was it?
It was very science-y, but mostly fiction-y.
Great.
No, yeah, Brandon wasn't able to make it to the sci-fi panel. He thought he was going to be able to get out of NASA work, but it turns out that they needed another star chart made. So, you know, when NASA says make another star chart, you make another star chart. I mean, that's
when they say make a star chart, you say how high.
That's right. So it's, you know, it's important to do your job. You know, a hobby is a hobby, no matter how seriously you take it. So jobs come first. So even though we missed you very much, Brandon, I'm glad you didn't come because it allowed me to shine.
So tell me about the panel. What was it about? What happened?
Okay, so here's what I love about this. It was almost as if the River City Comic-Con knew that I would be able to just pull stuff out of my butt to make a panel. Because, as I said, the theme was the state of sci-fi. And we had me, Kurt Greenfield, local weatherman and fairly big nerd. Podcastateur, fairly big nerd. He's got a lot of nerdy stuff that he's enjoyed over the years. And fellow nerd Professor Kreitz from Geek Hammer.
Oh, he was a professor?
No, I don't think he's really a professor. I don't know. I never asked. But I don't know if he wants me to use his real name or not, but his name on Geek Hammer is Professor Kreitz.
Okay. I just feel like you shouldn't call yourself a professor if you're not a professor.
Listen, you don't know. He could be. I don't know if he is or not. Like I said, I didn't ask.
Okay, fair enough.
But either way, so Geek Hammer, for those of you who don't know, is a website. They do articles and also aggregate geek articles as well. So they do some of their own and they do some and reshare, do different article linking as well for articles that they enjoy. So we get up there and we know that it's the state of sci-fi, but nobody has given us any direction past that.
Is there an intro?
Nope, there's no, I mean, well, I think, wait, did we even get an intro? I think we just all went ahead and wandered on stage and called people over who wanted to listen to us talk and then went at it. So, and we started talking and I just kind of took on the moderator role and I just started off just pulling up random sci-fi related stories and movies and we went from there. And there was a point where we kind of wanted to talk about Ready Player One, and somebody actually after the show said, "Oh, I wish you guys would have talked about Ready Player One," which I think had you have been there, it was in the back of my head to do, but we were starting to run close to time.
Yeah. But
had you had been there, I probably would have got it in a little earlier because I think that we have tread that ground before, and it would have been a good and easy talking point to have with other people that we haven't talked to before.
Yeah. So you were just bringing up random sci-fi stories and stuff?
Yep, pretty much.
That sounds cool. How'd you feel on stage?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. We've been doing this long enough that I think that we are very capable of owning a stage.
Yeah.
You know, not to say that, I mean, even me having, since my geekdoms aren't, I don't have any one singular geekdom that I really prescribe to. Since I'm all over the place with all of my geekdoms, I just enjoy it as a whole. I think that my failing is that I'm not able to talk in depth about anything, but I'm able to keep a conversation going by throwing in other things.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons why I make a fairly decent moderator.
So did you have opinions on things, or did you just kind of
Yeah,
toss
no,
out?
I chimed in every once in a while. I felt very Chris Hardwicky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that works out because we are a subsidiary of the Nerdist.
That's right. I think if we say it enough, they have to take us on, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that's how legalese works.
Okay, good.
So how was the con? Because I didn't get to go to the con at all.
The con was good. There was a lot of really nice cosplay going on. The vendors were great. There was a guy who was, I didn't catch the name of his shop. I know he wasn't from around here. And Jordan, if you're listening to this, if you want to hit us up in the Facebook and put a link to him, that would be cool. But he 3D printed weapons and helmets and this and that and the other. And he had a couple of Groots that he had printed up. And also he had Pickle Rick.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, from Rick and Morty. So we bought a Pickle Rick. And it's really cool. And it's not in here. I'm not going to run off and show you because we're already chit-chatting. We haven't even got to the manuscript stuff yet. So
Don't spoil it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a secret. I started watching Rick and Morty.
Did you?
Yeah, after being so fucking sick of everybody talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's that shitty attitude I have that I try to keep under control for the most part.
You're such a bitch.
No, I just got sick of everybody talking about Rick and Morty like it was the greatest fucking thing in the world. Like, seriously, everybody is like Rick and Morty constantly.
Yeah.
So you can go on YouTube and find live stream channels.
Right.
So a few nights ago, I woke up and watched like 4 episodes of the newest season.
Yeah.
Just streaming. And it's a good show. It definitely is.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. When you have everybody hyping the way that they do, if you're coming into it already with a chip on your shoulder, because you had started to watch it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And in the first season. And you weren't keen on it because it really hadn't found its legs anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't dislike it. I thought the burping thing, I know we've talked about it. I thought he burped too much.
Yeah. And that's been toned down quite a bit. So
yeah, I noticed in the 3rd season that it has a lot.
Yeah. And it seems to be a little more prevalent recently, but that may be because the fans said that they wanted more burping. I don't know for sure.
What a weird fucking fandom.
Fans are a fickle mistress.
You know what? We wish he would burp more.
Yeah, we just put a little bit more burps in. You know, last season there were only a handful of burps, and now we just need a few more burps.
You were at burp capacity 8, and we'd like burp capacity 12.
Yeah, but don't go to 13. I swear to God.
Now, you sons of bitches will stop this TV right now.
That's right. So as far as it goes, I mean, giving it that second chance and barring that the fandom is very rabid about Rick and Morty, what do you think?
I thought it was a good show. Like I said, I only saw 4 episodes.
Yeah.
And it seems that it kind of follows a story.
Yeah.
Like each episode seemed contained, but also seemed like it was building on things from the first 2 seasons I wasn't aware of.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I plan on watching more now for sure.
That's good.
And I knew going in it was going to be a good show. Like typically when everybody's talking about something, there's good parts to it. Like a show has to be something special to capture such a wide breadth of audience.
Right.
So it's just, I got so tired of especially the Rick and Morty stuff with like where I work at NASA, we carry a shit ton of Rick and Morty merchandise.
Right. So it's just staring you in the face constantly.
Yeah. Well, and fucking everybody comes in and is like, oh, look, Rick and Morty, Pickle Rick.
Yeah.
It's just people enjoying stuff I hate, you know me.
You hate to see people having joy. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I work at NASA.
Exactly.
We're all morose motherfuckers.
So past that, the rest of the con was very enjoyable. We bought a couple of things, not a lot this year, but had a really good time. Ran into a lot of people, just chit-chatted, and caught up with a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a while. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. That's
awesome.
all.
I'm sorry I missed it, but I'm looking forward to Parkersburg PopCon here in a few weeks.
So that's coming up September 30th at the West Virginia University at Parkersburg.
Mm-hmm.
What's the time on it? 11 to something?
11 to 6, I think.
Okay, is it Saturday? Yeah, it's Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday the 30th.
Okay.
And there's going to be a panel there. I know I'm going to be there. I'm not sure if you are. And then some other local podcasters are going to be there.
Mm-hmm. That would be What's Going On with Cash and Joel. I think is, yes. I can't remember if Cash comes first or Joel.
Joel and Cash.
Joel and Cash.
And I'm a good friend and I'm subscribed to them.
And the Freebird. See, you forgot about the Freebird.
Yeah, who the fuck's the Freebird?
I don't know. You said you're subscribed to them.
Well, I'm subscribed to them. It doesn't mean I've listened.
Yeah, real good friend and fan. Dick.
No, I've listened. I'm kidding. But yeah, so we have that coming up. We'll see how that goes.
That sounded
they
genuine.
Are comedians.
Yes.
At least 2 of them are stand-up comedians, and they're very into professional wrestling. So
yes.
I think it'll be an interesting panel to see where exactly we merge.
I think it will be just fine. I think we're going to be the best ever. The best podcast
panel.
The best podcast panel that's ever happened. And that's saying a lot because the last River City Comic Con was a really fun time for our first panel.
Yeah,
podcast
I had
panel.
a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But so River City Comic Con was a lot of fun. Thank you, Jordan, for making it all happen again this year. And thank you, Marietta College, for giving us a venue to go to. That was nice, too. It was, I don't know if it was as big as it had been in the past years, but at least the air conditioning fucking worked.
Oh, God, yeah, last year was pretty warm.
It was so brutal. I mean, I'm sure he lost people who did not want to come back because of that. And, yeah, no fault of his own, really. So, just the venue. So, yeah, again, thanks to Marietta College for hooking him up with a spot. I don't know how that all went down, but I'm glad that it happened.
I'm guessing a lot of money laundering.
Yeah, probably. Yes.
Because he's part of the Kapow Pop Culture podcast, our podcasting rivals.
Yes, and they are notoriously known for money laundering.
Yeah, just terrible people.
Yeah, horrible monsters. That's right. So
all right, do you want to get into the...
Yes, let's do it. Let's get into the thing. We've plugged River City Comic Con. We've plugged Parkersburg Comic Con. Parkersburg PopCon coming up. Let's get into the topic of the day.
Okay, so last week I mentioned this at the end of our episode.
Right.
The Voynich Manuscript.
The Voynich Manuscript. Which
is a book that has been carbon dated to the early 15th century. And you can go online. It is, every page is scanned in. It's currently held at the Beckenall Yale Library. I think it's pronounced Beckenall, something like that. And it's a book that so far nobody has been able to decipher what it is.
Right.
Every page has a drawing, and the words that are written are in a language that nobody knows or understands.
Right. It's one of those things that that I have seen a lot of references in a couple of different episodes of Ancient Aliens, because that's one of the more out there theories is that this manuscript is possibly written in an alien language.
Yeah, I love this thing.
Yeah.
I love these kinds of mysteries that we have no idea where they come from, and even with modern technology, we can't figure out.
Right. So the manuscript was named after Wilfred Voynich. He was a Polish dealer who purchased it in 1912. And they have it carbon dated, like you said, the early 15th century. So they have it actually dated between 1404 and 1438. And think that it may have been composed in northern Italy during the Italian Renaissance.
So I started out, because I have a pretty decent amount of notes on this.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go through and read every name and where it passed from, because they can trace where it passed through hands-wise about 6 people.
Yeah.
There's a spot for about 200 years where it's missing until it shows up with Wilfred Voynich, who bought it from a rare book dealer. I don't remember where. Somewhere he bought it from a rare book dealer.
Right. Well, I think that by and large it was in the Jesuit holdings in Rome is where most of that 300 years or so, where it was just owned by one entity, and it was just filed away in a vault.
Those holdings were, at some point in history, those holdings were sacked.
Okay.
And before those holdings were sacked, the librarians themselves took any books that they thought were important, or basically as many books as they could, and moved them into their own private libraries.
Okay.
Which, according to the rules of war at that time, you were allowed to do.
Okay.
Anything that was left there that was sacked, that's just part of war, but you were allowed to take some of these books for yourself, and they were off limits to be destroyed.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so very strange laws of war.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that even in war, some people realize that there is an importance to history and historical artifacts. You know, you want people to know who died there, because you want people to know that your team was successful in the sacking.
Yeah. So I'll break down real quick. The book is broken into 6 sections.
Okay.
And there's not proper section dividers. Just, you can break the book into 6 sections just by looking at what it's discussing by pictures. There is an herbal section, an astronomical section, a biological section, a cosmological section, a pharmaceutical section, and recipes.
Right.
And the thing, besides this being written in a language that nobody understands, the drawings in it make no fucking sense either.
Right. We have drawings of women. Isn't it primarily women that we see?
It's
drawings
primarily
of?
women, yes.
And but they're not just like their bodies doing things. Like they're inside of flowers or other tubules that look like flowers sometimes.
Yeah.
We see
part of the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We see really peculiar plants that either no longer exist or bear very small resemblance to some Mexican flowers. Some people have theorized that some of the drawings are of Mexican botany. I couldn't think of the word, sorry.
And I went, because I used Wikipedia as my jumping off point.
Right.
But I didn't want to just do the Wikipedia reading, because anybody can do that.
Yeah.
So I started to trace back through the sources that the Wikipedia article sourced. And I found a really good breakdown, and I'll put that in the show notes to this website. It's kind of a hard read because there's no paragraphs. It's just one big, long fucking thing.
Yeah.
But it breaks it down very well with other citations you can go to. But a lot of the plants are apparently what they thought was just these weird, mysterious alien plants are actually an amalgamation of existing plants. So they would take like the roots from one plant, draw them on the stem of another plant with a third plant's flower.
Okay.
So they're not so much alien plants as much as they are different plants that are smashed together.
Right. So, I mean, the question comes to mind, why would somebody smash plants together in such a fashion, you know?
Yeah, well, I have a whole fucking page of theories, man. So so you can strap in because I got a few.
Okay. All right. So this is specific theories to why somebody would do that?
Just theories about what the book is.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
As far as where the book came from, the earliest mention of it was an alchemist named George Beresch, or Beresch. I don't know how you would pronounce it. George something. And he was an alchemist from Prague who had somehow gained possession of this book. Once he got this book, he wrote a couple letters to a man in Italy who worked at the Jesuit college, who he wanted to decode what this book said.
Okay.
So he made copies of the book. He didn't send the book itself. He made copies of this book and sent it to this guy in Italy.
Okay.
The guy in Italy wrote him back and kind of just said, this guy in Italy was apparently known as being one of the best decoders in the world, or at least for this area.
Okay.
So the guy, who sounds like a total dickhead, wrote him back and was basically like, I find these very interesting and I can easily solve them, and maybe I will when I have some time, but this doesn't take knowledge. What you're giving me doesn't take knowledge to decode. This just takes time.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? Like, he was saying, this isn't some sort of code that needs broken. This is just something that would be time consuming that you would have to write out.
Yeah, sounds like he didn't want to admit that he was a douche and couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a different. I thought that the first supposed owner was Rudolph II, Holy Roman Emperor. Did you find anything on that?
This is the George Baresh, from what I saw, was the earliest mentioned owner. I think Rudolph II is just assumed that he owned it at one point.
Okay.
But we know that George Baresh owned it because he was writing letters to this other guy. Then he had a friend who also knew this other guy. So George gave a letter to his friend to deliver to the man in Italy.
Okay.
His friend wrote a letter to the man in Italy saying, hey, my friend George really wants you to decode this book. Could you please do it?
Right.
That letter is still with the Voynich Manuscript.
Okay.
So that's the first written mention of who owned it.
Okay.
I think anybody else before that was just kind of speculated that they owned it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he probably did, but this is like the first hard proof we have of who owned it.
Right.
So then after George died, his friend took his book and then brought it to the dude who lived in Italy to decode.
Okay.
From there, it passed through a lot of hands.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of Italian and Latin names that I didn't write down and could never in a million years remember.
Okay, gotcha.
So it passed through a lot of hands until it ended up with Wilfred Voynich.
Okay, yes. And Wilfred bought it off of a dealer in, 1912, I think is what we said?
Yeah.
Okay. So among the things, not only does it have this cipher, as it were, inside of it, but it also has some Latin holdings and some potential Egyptian hieroglyphs inside of it, does it not?
Yeah, nothing in it, though, is actually a written language.
Okay.
There are a few mentions of words in Latin, but they're surrounded by this other made-up language that it's hard to tell what's been added.
Yeah, I got you.
There are notes in the book written on the sides that are written in what looks like a different handwriting, and those seem to be more Latin.
Yeah.
There's also things that look sort of like hieroglyphs. That was part of George's friend in Italy that he wanted to decode his book. Mm-hmm. That guy had figured out some of how to read hieroglyphics. So that's why he wanted to contact him.
Okay. And we can also see where it's been kind of touched up as well over the years. Did you see anything on that? So you can see in some of the pages, it looks like somebody has traced over just to keep the there's a word for it, and now I can't think of it. But anyway, to keep it looking fresh. There's an actual word that I could use for that, and I can't remember what it is.
Friggity fresh.
Friggity fresh.
What I love about this so much, and what I feel like keeps the mystery alive, is in this written document that's 600 years old at this point, almost 600 years old.
Yeah.
It's passed through so many hands. Anybody could have written in it. Anybody could have added to it. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Now they can look at, because they've looked at the book under a microscope now to see the penmanship and to see how it was written.
Right.
So they can tell what was added in a different handwriting. And that's what I find interesting, because my first thought, and a lot of people's thoughts, is that this is just fake. It's just somebody was writing to look like real writing. There's a program called the Ductus that is a computer program that analyzes handwriting and looks for inconsistencies.
Yeah.
And they ran this program on the handwriting in the Voynich manuscript, And the ductus shows that, yes, this is a language.
Okay.
Because there aren't, and the way they can tell is when you look at the writing on it, there aren't breaks like somebody was looking at a code, like somebody had made a cipher that says this symbol means this letter.
Okay.
If that were the case, there would be pauses occasionally as they were double checking their work.
Right. Okay.
This flows smoothly as if somebody is writing it and is familiar with the language to write it.
Gotcha.
It also passes something called Zipf's law.
Okay.
That's ZIPF, which I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
But it's apparently a law that a mathematician created that says that the most used word in a language, so in our case, in English, I think it's A, just the letter A is the most used word in English.
Right.
The second most used word, which would be the, appears with half as much frequency as the first one. So if the word A appears in a book 10,000 times, the word the will appear 5,000 times.
Okay.
And then the third most used word appears half of that, and it always goes down.
Okay.
And that law, for whatever reason, they don't know why, works on every written language.
Huh.
And weirdly enough, a little side note, they found out that law also applies almost to a fault to cities.
To cities?
To cities, yeah. So the biggest city in America is New York with 8 million some people.
Yeah.
The next biggest city, I can't remember, I think it's somewhere in Texas, has like 4.5 million people.
Huh.
And then the third biggest city has like 2.5 million.
Weird.
So yeah, it's this weird law that they don't know why it works that way. But you can use that law to consistently look at something, even if you can't read the language, to tell whether it is a written language by looking at the appearance of certain words. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. By following the...
Yeah, they've used that on the Voynich Manuscript, and it follows that law, which also lends credence to it being a written language of some sort.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it seems like there's a lot of strong evidence that it is a language. We just don't know what it is.
Gotcha. So that leans back to it could be an alien language.
Yeah.
I like the idea that it would be an actual alien manuscript. Not because I believe it to be so, but because if it were to be so, that would be so neat to have an actual physical manuscript written by an alien.
Yeah. Well, and I don't really believe the hoax idea that somebody just sat down and created an elaborate hoax.
Yeah, I mean...
Not that there weren't hoaxes at this time, because there definitely were.
Sure. But, like, to what end? You know, that's the real question. Why would you write something that nobody can read just as a hoax? Like, you couldn't have even begun to think that it would have lasted centuries for people to be... And even still, to not be able to decipher it. Because
I don't think you can straight up discount the fact that there are people out there that would play the long con, that would just make a fake language and make a book with crazy drawings just for the fuck of it, knowing nobody in my lifetime is going to see it, but if anybody ever finds this book and tries to decode it, it will be hilarious.
Yeah, but I mean, what would be the point? Like, if there's nobody there to hear a tree fall in the woods, does it make a sound? It's the same thing. Like, if you make a hoax and you're not around to enjoy it, then what's the point in the hoax in the first place?
Just for the joy of a hoax.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see myself ever sitting down and doing that because I would like to see the payoff.
Right.
But also there is a little part of me that thinks it would be hilarious to just leave this for future generations. To create something so mystifying that means nothing.
Yeah.
Knowing that like maybe in 200 years, 500 years, people are going to find this thing and be like, what the fuck is this?
Man, sometimes I forget how big of a prick you are.
Well, no, I like hoaxes.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I spent a lot of time this last week also reading at hoaxes.org.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of good hoaxes there.
So if the manuscript is real, it seems like the prevailing theory is that it would be a medical journal of some kind.
Yes.
So what do you think about that? Do you think that it would be a medical journal if it were a real thing? If it was not a hoax?
I think so, yeah. It seems to be like a medical journal / alchemy book.
Right.
And because a lot of the drawings are women bathing. So I mentioned it last week when I first mentioned the Voynich Manuscript. There was a scientist, doctor, something, I don't remember exactly what his credentials are, but he has good credentials, who said he had figured out what the book was. And he said that it was a bastardization of a bunch of other books from that time that were women's health. And the Voynich Manuscript is basically a woman's health book, which is why you have so many women bathing. A lot of the designs and the things that they're sitting in like weird bathtubs in a lot of these drawings. Kind of resemble like fallopian tubes and female sex organs and stuff.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of women's health at the time, and I use very heavy quotes on women's health, involved like women on their period sitting in bathtubs and like holding magnets and shit.
Right.
Because, you know, they were too busy trying to figure out how to turn shit into gold.
Yeah, for sure.
They're like, oh, menstrual cramps. Yeah, okay, honey.
Yeah, whatever. Just stick a magnet on your vagina.
Just stick a magnet. Who cares? Whatever.
Nicholas Gibbs is the most recent person who thought that he maybe had figured it out.
Yeah, he was discounted pretty quickly.
Yeah.
By a lot of the community who was like, no, because it doesn't match up with X, Y, and Z.
Right, exactly. So this is from Vox.com. They released this one just a couple days ago, actually, and it's a pretty good read. I'll send you this link to put into it as well, because that's where I kind of got some of the other things where you were touching on the people that we knew had the book first versus the Holy Roman Emperor that I quoted earlier, Rudolph II. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of read some of this verbatim from the Vox website. So what's wrong with Gibbs's theory? Gibbs, a historical researcher and television writer, argues that the apparent code in the Voynich Manuscript is actually a series of Latin abbreviations, with each character standing for an abbreviated word rather than a letter. Once the characters are decoded, he claims, the manuscript becomes clear. It is, quote, an instruction manual for the health and well-being of the more well-to-do women in society. The recipe section really is a series of recipes for women's health, he adds, and that it would have been clear to everyone if only the manuscript's original index hadn't gone missing. Here's the problem. The abbreviations Gibbs is proposing don't render themselves into readable Latin. They're not grammatically correct, says Lisa Fagan Davis, executive director of the Medieval Academy of America. It doesn't result in Latin that makes sense. So, and then she further goes on to say, as for the idea that a missing index is the key to everything, this is the piece that really killed it for me. While there's some evidence the manuscript is missing pages, there's no compelling reason to think that the missing pages were an index.
And that's a problem that I've seen, because there have been a lot of people over the years who've said they've decoded it. Yeah,
and that one, Gibbs's theory is not one. I mean, the article goes on to say that this isn't the first time that somebody has thrown out that theory.
Yeah,
he just kind of picked different theories and tried to stitch them together to try and come up with something. The only problem is that those theories have been debunked. So even though he's trying to breathe new life into some old theories by switching them up and putting them together, they're still debunked. So,
yeah, well, and a lot of the issue with the people who say that they've decoded it is that, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to phrase this right.
Okay.
They're looking at the manuscript and they're not finding the consistencies in the script to figure out how to decipher it. They're figuring out what they want it to decipher to, and then making the manuscript fit with what they want it to say.
Okay, yeah, they're fitting their own narrative.
Yeah, they're basically finding patterns that kind of lend to their theory, and then just making the
wild leap
fit around the code instead of making the code fit the cipher.
Right.
Now, I'll get into the theories because there's some interesting ones here.
Okay.
The main theory that existed for a long time is that Wilfred Voynich himself created it.
Right.
That was mostly debunked with the radiocarbon dating that they did that showed that it went back.
Yeah. And that takes us back to a 13th century English alchemist, Roger Bacon. Yep.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Roger Bacon.
Did you check out my new manuscript?
Come on, read it.
I've
Tommy,
put
it's
a
all
lot of
funny from
fallopian
Ham.
tube flowers in there for you. So and that carbon dating, Roger Bacon lived in the 13th century. Hold on.
Everything all right?
Yeah, there was a couple of bats in my room.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Like just hanging out in there?
Yeah, just, flying around, being all
So,
batty.
what'd you do?
Oh, I closed the door. I've got a show to finish.
Deal with them later.
Deal with them later. They aren't going anywhere.
You should have invited them down.
Yeah. Hey, guys, what's up? Squeak, squeak.
Thank you for having us on. You're discussing the Voynich Manuscript? I love that book.
I love that book. All right, anyway, what were we talking about? I don't know where I was.
I don't remember what you were saying.
Damn it, Brandon.
I'd mentioned the theories with Voynich creating it.
Right, and then I jumped in with Roger Bacon.
Yeah, that's right. You had just mentioned Roger Bacon, and then we were doing Roger Bacon's voice. So
right.
just
The
kick in
fallopian
like
tubes.
we just made fun of his name and then go from there.
So as I mentioned earlier, Rudolph II, the Holy Roman Emperor, was supposed first owner of the manuscript, who allegedly purchased it for 600 gold ducats, which equates to about $90,000 today.
90? Jesus Christ.
Yes. Somewhere around the beginning of the 17th century, apparently under the belief that the manuscript was the work of the 13th century English alchemist Roger Bacon. Rudolph, however, seemed to have no luck decoding the manuscript, and it passed from hand to hand until it ended up in the Jesuit holdings in Rome, where it would remain until Voynich turned it up 300 years later. That's what the Vox article says.
Okay. The big hole in the theory with the Voynich manuscript, outside of the carbon dating, with Wilfred Voynich creating it, is if he created it as a hoax, why did he never try to sell it? And when he died, his wife held on to it and then donated it to the museum. So if it was a hoax that he had done, and that you'll find this line goes through a lot of the Voynich manuscript outside of maybe Rudolph II buying it.
Right.
Nobody's really trying to make money off of this thing.
Right. Well, maybe Voynich did do it as a hoax and never even told his wife, so she thought that it was an actual thing. The only thing that puts the hole in that theory is the carbon dating.
Yeah.
So
another one that I like is there is a swindler named Edward Kelly.
Okay.
Who worked with a lot of royalty at the time. He was an alchemist who claimed he could turn copper into gold.
Okay.
He sold this book to a king or something at one point. I don't remember. I wrote down his name. I took these notes like 4 days ago, and I thought I'd remember more of these Latin names, and I just do not. But again, this goes back to the swindler thing. And this guy actually did sell the book at one point.
Right.
But this guy sold the book like 100, 200 years after it was carbon dated for when it was written.
Right.
My favorite thing about this guy is that he was an alchemist who said he could turn copper into gold. And the way that he said he could turn copper into a gold is he had a magic powder that he, quote, dug from a bishop's tomb in Wales.
So true magic.
Yeah, he found this magical powder in a bishop's tomb that he grave robbed to get this powder.
I love that. That is some mystical bullshit right there.
Also, in 1921, Wilfred Voynich made a reproduction of it, like a light casting, basically before fax machines. I don't know how they did it, but you could do like a fax style copy.
Right.
With light. And when he made that, you could see a faint outline in the front of the name Jacob Tepanek.
Okay.
Who was a specialist in herbal medicine. He's pretty well known as far as a writer in the past time periods.
Okay.
But the signature doesn't match Jacob's actual signature.
Okay.
So, which means that somebody at one point wrote or tried to write his signature, making it look like his signature to lend credence to the book, to make the book seem like it was written by him to maybe sell it for more money.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then these two are my favorite. These are the last two theories I have, and these are my two favorite theories.
Okay.
This one I think you'll appreciate, and this one actually seems like it has some legs to stand on. The book was written by somebody from Asia who had come to Europe to study, who spoke the language but didn't know how to write in English. So they made up a language in a facsimile of Latin that it was translating their Asian language, whatever it would be, into English-looking letters.
Okay.
In an attempt to look European. So the idea would be that this Asian scholar is studying and writing this book. They want their book to be presentable as an English written book.
Okay.
Whenever I say English, by the way, I'm covering European as a whole, Latin or German, because you don't really know exactly what it is.
Right.
So I'm saying English for ease. Wrote it to look like what English would look like, and they had just made up this language. Maybe they were practicing English. Maybe this was the closest facsimile to English they could write, being a speaker of an Asian language.
Okay.
And trying to go from, kanji and hiragana to regular English script.
Okay.
That one's a little out there, but it seems like
it is. I mean, it is. It's really out there. Let me pull
some
up
of the
some
plants
of the
that are
pages.
mentioned in the book are Asian plants, though.
Right.
That's kind of what people use as a basis for that as well.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's just the thing when it comes to the plants for me. I had never heard that the plants were like an amalgamation of different plants.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the plants being from any one place kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
Because if the plants are an amalgamation of different kinds of plants, if the person was worldly enough, if they traveled enough, then those plants could literally be from anywhere.
Yeah, and it could be, and I don't know if all of the plants are a hodgepodge, but I know that a portion of them are.
Right.
The site that I was reading didn't specifically say every plant, but it did say that a lot of them are. So, this could be, for that time period, somebody who can write and somebody who can draw and is writing out all of these different herbal remedies and whatever it is, was an intelligent person no matter who did it.
Yeah.
Probably a worldly person in a sense. So maybe they were writing in whatever, and they were drawing these plants as like a weird amalgamation. Like, what if you mix the stem from this plant, which we know heals this, with the root of this plant and the flower of this, you'd have a super plant. So grow these and then you'll cure rickets.
Right. You know what else I'd like to know is what is the frequency at which certain words appear? I'm sure somebody's done that. Because I'm looking at a page right now that looks like it has kind of a waterfall that leads into a pool that is dripping onto each singular lady's head. And it has writing in between each of these ladies that are also like sitting in a green pool. Yeah. And maybe the blue water is flushing the toxins out of the ladies into the pool. Who knows? All of the ladies seem to have a makeup of some sort on as well. So to me, that kind of leads credence to being well-to-do ladies. Yeah.
And the thing is, too, with you saying you're looking at the waterfall with the words around it, that also means that the drawings were put in before the words were.
Yeah. Yeah, because the words are kind of written around it. But I mean, writing a book like that, a little pre-planning on how you're going to put out your pages would be fairly important. So, especially with some of the drawings in here, like some of them we have some very, like the cosmology drawings, they're very precise looking.
Yeah, it's all very strange.
So, I mean, I did a Google search of the Voynich Manuscript, and there are a lot of, I've looked through it before, but
there's like 270 some pages.
I know, and each one of them has, doesn't every single one of them have a sketch of some sort on it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just insane. There is this one is a dragon. Wait, is this one a real Voynich Manuscript one, or is this... Anyway, I don't know if this one is Is this one? Oh, this just takes me to Pinterest. That's not what I want. Pinterest, you jerk. You stupid, smelly jerk.
Now, the book, too, the entire thing is online. You can go to the Yale Library online and download and read the entire book and flip through it. They've digitized the entire thing.
Yeah. So, but anyway, definitely, I mean, it's overwhelming to look at all of the pictures. And
it's really neat, though.
Yeah.
You can tell whoever drew it was way better at drawing diagrams and shapes than they were drawing people.
Yeah.
Because the ladies don't look so great. The diagrams and stuff look fucking fantastic. Yeah, they look mathematical.
Yeah. I tell you what, your ladies, they don't look too great.
And I do have to say, if somebody was listening to this and is intimately familiar with the history of the Voynich Manuscript, there may be a point where they were shaking their fist and yelling.
Yeah.
That I was incorrect. Because I went to the Yale website, and what you were saying about Rudolph II owning it, they also mention that.
Okay.
From the websites I read, it mentioned that George Beresque or whatever was the first documented person to own it.
Okay.
But Yale seems to say that it was Rudolph II who bought it from person X, who gave it to person Y, and whatever. So
gotcha.
There's a bit of a discrepancy there. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Now, my final theory, and this is my favorite in its simplicity. During that time, there was something called an alchemical herbal, which was a book that quack doctors owned. So you would have a traveling quack doctor, and they would own a book called an alchemical herbal that was a fake book with fake drawings written to look like it was a crazy magical book. So then you would have a doctor that would show up and say, "Oh, I can cure your mumps. Here, drink this molten lead. Let me consult my book." And it was a book that was just made to look impressive.
Okay.
And indecipherable.
So that is a theory as well, that this is just one of those fake books?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the problem with that theory is that every other book from the time period wasn't written in a made-up language.
Yeah.
It was still written in Latin.
And that's the other point that we made earlier, is the fact that it does check out as a language.
Yeah.
Even though it's not one that we know. Not just a language, but a language as we know it.
Yeah.
So that kind of pokes a hole in that theory. I don't know if that's
the most likely theory. That's just my favorite, because I had never heard of alchemical herbals, and I think it's a really cool idea for a D&D character to have.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So, okay. Well, I think we've covered a lot of different stuff on this.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for notes.
Okay. And and again, going back to it, like the whole point of you talking about this was Gibbs claiming that he had decoded it, right?
Yeah, that's what kind of sprung off of this.
Okay. And then you found out in a very short order that somebody poked holes in that theory.
Yeah.
So.
And I was actually happy to hear that, because I would be happy if it was never decoded.
Yeah.
Because more than likely, when it is decoded, it's going to be something very mundane.
Right.
As long as it's not decoded, it's sort of the Schrodinger's cat thing where, yeah, it's probably somebody who just this weird dialect that we'd never heard of, or somebody who didn't know how to write and had made up their own language.
Right.
But it's just as likely that it could be aliens, that it could have been somebody channeling an alien and writing in this alien script.
Yeah. 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 I like that too. I mean, the scientist in me really wants to know, though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you, sir, are a dreamer of dreams. I am a cold, hard, fact-riddled man. Yeah. So, which is really funny, because I believe in the possibility of a deity where you don't.
Right.
It's so funny.
I'm a grounded realist, Remington.
But at the same time, like, you're absolutely okay with this never being solved.
Yeah.
To me, that is cringeworthy.
Well, because it's
at
fun.
The least.
I mean, yeah. I don't think it was actually written by aliens.
Right.
I'm sure there's some very mundane theory for it. But as long as it's not solved, I can still kind of dream about it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Once you solve something, it kind of takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah. And you just want to suck the fun out of everything with your science and your bullshit.
I do. Oh my God. I don't want anything to be fun.
Okay, so quick story I have.
Okay.
There was a scientist who was talking, and he said, I didn't get his name or anything because what his name wasn't important. It's what he said that's important.
Okay.
He was talking about cybersecurity and how as we get more electronics in our home, hackers can have access to more things in our home.
Right.
Which is true. You know, you have your Alexa that controls your lights. You have smart TVs. It was proven in that leak like 6 months ago that the CIA could spy on us through our smart TVs.
Right.
Like all that came out. So we know that. He said that one of the things you need to watch out more is as sex robots become more prevalent, a hacker could hack into your sex robot and use it to kill you.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That would be fucked up, yeah. I mean, we already see that in the porn industry.
Sex robots killing people?
Yeah.
I'm missing out. What are you watching?
No, it's like there are cam shows and there are ladies who have little vibrating devices that go off when tips are made.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that is a thing that exists.
So you find a way to hack into that,
Yeah.
overheat it, explode a vagina.
Exactly. And then you get back to your girlfriend. You get back at your girlfriend. There you go.
By exploding her vagina via the internet?
You horrible person. How dare you explode a perfectly good vagina? I'm sorry, everybody. That went too far.
So I bring this story up for this reason. We're tasked with creating a movie about a serial killer who kills men or women via their sex robots.
Okay, who tasks us with this?
Sony.
Okay.
Who do we cast and what is the movie about? Do we do like a crime thriller like Seven? Do we do like a sort of 21 Jump Street wackadoo slapstick comedy? Do we do a dark period piece like Sophie's Choice?
As long as it has Matt Damon in there as the lead.
Okay.
I think that seems appropriate for Matt Damon.
So the lead as the serial killer? Or do we follow the detective that's trying to track the serial killer down?
He would be the serial killer.
See, I think here's what you do with it. And you saying Matt Damon sparked this. Because I feel like we go the easy route by making him the detective or the serial killer. Because I feel like making Matt Damon any of that, that's safe. And that's what Sony wants.
Right.
But at this point, we're not going to make a name for ourselves by being safe. I say,
well, then we shouldn't do it for Sony.
We cast Matt Damon as the sex robot.
Ooh.
And he's one model of a sex robot.
Right.
So he's playing the sex robot, but you know, he has many, many owners.
Right.
The model is just made to look like Matt Damon.
Right. So all throughout the movie, you see Matt Damon's in the background. Just sexing it up.
Yeah.
It's a Matt Damon robot brothel.
He gets to really spread his acting chops.
Glad
you know what I mean.
Glad you didn't put the dramatic pause in there for that.
By being different kinds of sex robots being hacked.
Right.
Maybe he's the sex robot for a poor Russian family who threw all their money together to buy one sex robot. So he's
fucking ridiculous. Should I end the show now?
And then we see him in like an upscale New York apartment building as a well-to-do sex robot with a monocle and a top hat. And you get to see him as he gets hacked and he goes crazy killing people.
Okay.
Now, I'm still at a loss for detective and serial killer if you want to throw in on that.
Right.
But Bob Saget as the creator of the sex robots.
Yes.
He's old enough. He's graying. I think he could play kind of sleazy nerd.
Yeah, I think he could pull that off.
We'll kind of go a little indie movie, I guess, because I don't think you'd see Bob Saget like headlining a movie.
Right. Yeah, I still don't know. I mean, if you've taken Matt Damon to be the sex robot, I still don't know who our leads would be. I feel like the serial killer should be a female.
Oh, okay.
Especially if she's taking over Matt Damon bots.
Why? Because it's like a sexual thing for her?
Maybe, yeah. She gets off watching Matt Damon kill people.
Okay, so, oh man, we can fucking throw in more for Matt Damon. Oh man, we just got it right here, dude. We just fucking solved it. You broke it wide open.
Okay.
The sex robots are made to look like Matt Damon.
Right.
the serial killer is a woman. There's a side story where Matt Damon, the actor, as himself, is suing Bob Saget for making his sex robots look like him.
Oh, so you're going to break the fourth wall.
Yeah, if we're going to go, let's go all in. And maybe the serial killer is his wife.
Uh-huh.
Who hates seeing her husband. Because, oh, fuck yeah. Matt Damon is her husband or ex-husband who cheated on her when they were together and she walked in on him. So that made her crazy. So now she's hacking these sex robots of Matt Damon to ruin his good image and to carry out the anger that she felt seeing her husband cheat on her by having her sex robot version husband killing the people he's having sex with, or vice versa.
You know, I think this may be the most amazing cinema undertaking that's ever been undertaken.
Exactly.
Undertacked.
It opens with Matt Damon being questioned by the police because a film comes out of Matt Damon in the midst of having sex with somebody, murdering them.
Yeah.
So the police arrest Matt Damon, and then he has to argue, no, that wasn't me. That was a sex robot.
Right.
And that's when we get Bob Saget into the picture.
Okay. I mean, that seems a little straightforward, but we can workshop it.
Is Wilford Brimley alive?
No.
Okay, we'll scratch that then.
Perfect.
Perfect. He won't be in this movie.
Are we done with this episode?
I think so, yeah.
Thank God. So if
there
you
go, Sony. That's a free one.
There you No, that's not free.
No.
You have to pay us for that shit. No, it's not free. We retract that freeness. No. So if you have any questions or comments or you'd like to hear yourself on air, you can call us at 978 DU-OGRES. That's 978-386-4737. You can also reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres. Email us at duelingogres@gmail.com or leave a comment on the Facebook page Dueling Ogres, which you can search by typing in Dueling Ogres into the search bar. We are at 297 likes. We have 3 more to go before we release the new shirt design.
This is shameful. Or shameless. We are shamelessly holding this shirt hostage.
We are shamefully holding this because it's great art. It's great art that needs to get out there, and we are shamefully holding it all to ourselves.
Yes.
Because you can't get 3 of your friends to like our damn Facebook page. You should feel guilty that you're holding this art hostage.
This is on you guys.
This is all on you.
Not us for not promoting more or sponsoring posts or anything. No.
Nope.
We wash our hands of this.
This is all on you.
You think we have time to promote when I'm fucking creating this awesome Matt Damon movie?
No. See? No. We don't have time for that. Working at NASA full time, crafting an elegant script involving Matt Damon's sex robots. No, sir.
I love it.
Yeah. So, go over, please. Give the page a like. You know, follow us on Twitter, do all of that stuff. Head over to the YouTube and click the little subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you know when a new episode comes out. This one won't be on video either. I know I'm really dropping the ball on this. A lot of other things have sprung up that are putting a kibosh on me getting more computer parts. So, including the hell that I am swimming in right now.
Your house is burning hot and you have bats in your bedroom right now.
Yes. Both of those things are very true at the moment. And I still haven't even eaten dinner. So
hopefully the bats will get uncomfortably warm and leave for cooler pastures.
Maybe. We can only hope. So do you have any shout outs for us, Brandon?
The only comments we had on last week's episode was Viscount Terry W. Irvin II.
Okay.
But his comments win everything ever.
Okay.
Because he photoshopped pictures of you and I from our discussion last week about where we would be on starships.
Right.
And he has you on the bridge next to Kirk and Takai.
Yeah.
And me, it looks like rubbing Kaylee's feet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
On Serenity.
Yep.
And he also said he was looking forward to seeing us at River City Comic Con.
Which he saw me.
Yeah. And he was wearing our shirt too, which is awesome.
Yeah, he was. Yep. He was wearing our current shirt, not the new one, our current one. The new one hasn't been released yet for reasons that we have already mentioned.
Just to recap, in case I didn't mention it.
But he was wearing our shirt. Larry was wearing our shirt. I was wearing our
Larry
shirt
too.
Yeah, Larry was there, rocking it out. I didn't even think at the time. I am awful. Okay, if you are listening, I am really bad about taking pictures. Like, I don't think of it. So if for some reason you like us enough that you actually want a picture with our ugly mugs, ask. Don't be afraid. We're real cool. We like handshakes and we like hugs and we like taking pictures. Well, I do. I like all those things. Brandon, I mean, I can understand being afraid to approach him, but you don't have to be afraid to approach me.
Why? I'm friendly.
You're real friendly, buddy. You've been my friend for a long time. I never had to put any kind of work into our relationship. But but if you want to, if you ever want to get a picture, I'd love to take a picture with everybody.
Yeah,
I like
I'll take
to
a picture with anybody.
I know you will. I'm painting you as the monster.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Not a problem. See, you like to bring misery into the world by not having manuscripts solved. Just everybody swimming in the hatred of their own mystery.
I don't know how you're putting the Voynich Manuscript on me. Like I discovered a time machine with the sole purpose of going back to fucking 1404 and writing the Voynich Manuscript.
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go. Okay, so one last quick little thing. I was perusing YouTube last night, and I ran across a channel that had Beekman on it.
Oh, is this the science?
As a guest star.
Yeah, I think I've seen this video. Is the guy has like a robot painted face or something?
Yeah, you've seen this? Okay. His name is Captain Disillusion is the name of the channel, and he debunks like VFX and stuff like that. It's a really cool channel. I watched several of his videos yesterday. It's really neat to see the stuff behind the videos. He's talking about Dude Perfect. Are you familiar with Dude Perfect?
No.
They have a YouTube channel they've been doing for a long time where they do trick shots and stuff like that. And he was like, Dude Perfect stuff is real. He was like, all of this stuff is real. You guys keep asking me to debunk it, and I can't because it's real. So enjoy it. It's awesome. I mean, these guys have made, basketball shots from up in the stands of a stadium.
Okay. Like
all the way down onto the field from many, many, many feet away, many yards away. They've broken world records. But I really enjoyed his show, and I think you should get. But he has an episode where he had Beekman on.
After I watched that episode, I looked up how to get a hold of the actor who played Beekman because I figured, like, hey, maybe he's not doing a whole lot. Maybe we can try to schmooze and get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Nope, he's a super fucking busy guy.
Oh, really?
He's a prolific man, yes.
Oh, huh.
He tours not just the country, but the world putting on Beekman shows still.
Oh, wow.
He's also a stage actor who puts on one-man plays about the current political climate. Huh. He does puppet shows. He's like a super heavy political activist / actor. Like, he is a busy, busy man.
Wow, that's
Tickets
incredible.
To see his Beekman show are like in the hundreds.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he's not going to have any fucking time for us.
So I mean, he went on to this guy's channel, so. I'm not saying that he isn't a cool guy. I mean, all of the stuff that he put out is awesome, but I don't know. Maybe they have friends, or maybe they're friends with each other. Anyway, I'm ending the podcast. I'm sorry, everybody. I got a little rambly there. Make sure to subscribe on our website as well, duelingogres.com, for news, for new shows and articles pertaining to some of your favorite geek news. It'll send out a little email when we drop new stuff. It's really cool that way. And finally, be sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, or find us on the YouTube, like I mentioned earlier, or anywhere else you can find a podcast, except for apparently Google Music. Somebody was asking me about that at the con. They tried to look us up on Google Music, and I could have swore that we were on there, but I don't know. For some reason, it's never taken. I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Okay.
So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusks sharp.
Good night.
I wanted to fit in this quote about the Voynich Manuscript, but I never found a good time. I just thought this quote was so badass.
Okay, what's the quote?
The guy that George Baresh gave the book to, or that he got the book from after he died.
Right.
His last name was Marcy.
Okay.
In his letter to the guy who lived in Italy, who he wanted to decode it, he's describing the book. And basically he's kissing his ass the whole time. The whole letter's on Wikipedia, you can read. He's kissing his ass like, I know you're super smart. Maybe you could do it. I love you. You're the greatest, that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
But he's describing the book, and he says at one point, he's discussing, I'll read the whole quote. He's discussing the guy who died, and he says, the former owner of this book asked your opinion by letter, copying and sending you a portion of the book from which he believed you would be able to read the remainder. But he at that time refused to send the book itself. To its deciphering, he devoted unflagging toil, as is apparent from attempts of which I send you herewith, and he relinquished hope only with his life. But his toil was in vain, for such sphinxes as these obey no one but their master.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking badass?
Yeah, yeah.
Such sphinxes as these obey no one but their master.
Yeah.
Man, fucking letters written however long ago are so much better than letters now.
Aren't they, though? Yeah.
Like, if people were to use our Facebook Messenger discussions in the same way we look at correspondences from that time period, 500 years from now, people are like, oh, the greatest podcasters of our time, Brandon and Remington. Here's some of their Facebook correspondences. No, it appears they just sent gifts to each other for an hour.
And then they made dick and boob jokes.
Interesting.
Surprisingly, we don't have a lot of dick and boob jokes.
No, we really don't.
Yeah.
Our chat's like 90% business.
I know. We're getting old, Brandon.
Yeah. Tell me about the dogs again.
Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters to me. Thanks.
What?
It's the second time I sang it. Oh, are you typing applause?
2 fingers.
2 fingers. 2-fingered applause? I don't understand.
Yeah, golf clap.
Oh, I thought it was just like this.
I don't know. I always just did it like this.
Oh. I mean, I guess you can get a similar... a simular... Fucking hate it when people say simular.
Simular?
Yes. It's very similar, Brandon. They're similar to each other.
I mispronounce words more regularly than I thought I did.
Yeah.
But there's certain words that bug me too when people say them.
Oh yeah, sure. And I mean, we've both had our fair share of not being able to pronounce things because we've only read them.
Yeah.
But
like, I hate when people say posthumous instead of posthumous.
Yeah.
Or archipelago instead of archipelago.
Yeah, yeah. But you corrected yourself on the posthumous thing. Because
I think we've had that discussion way earlier on an episode where I mispronounced it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hard habit to break once you have it ingrained in your head that a word sounds a certain way. And
and I don't use the word posthumous that often.
Exactly. It's like, in fact, I heard Jacksepticeye the other day. He said posthumous.
Posthumous.
Yeah, he was reading it. He was reading it off of something, and he said posthumous. And I'm like, that's not right, Jack.
Are you doing the video for this?
No, I'm not doing the video. It's
okay,
really...
Cool. I'm not going to fuck with the light.
Okay, it's really kind of hot in here, and I don't want to push the computer any further than... Our air conditioning has stopped.
Just stopped?
Yep, it no longer exists. It is a thing of death now. It is hell in here.
What are you doing then? Just fans?
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Well, yeah, it's not good.
I have the air on and my fan's going at like middle speed, and I'm still pretty fucking hot in here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay as far as it goes. Like, it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be, but tomorrow's supposed to be a hot day, and it's the animals. Like, that's what Ginger's really worried about, is the animals.
Just throw them outside. Let them fend for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. When I move away from the mic, how bad do I drop off? Like, if I'm over here, is it pretty bad? Or do you hear a difference? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah, I hear a difference. Do you have like an equalizer going?
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. What? Well, not an equalizer, but I've got like a gate going, and
because once you get like maybe 6 inches ish, it looks like from the mic, your voice doesn't slowly go down. It's like your voice just drops. I'm guessing that's something in the background.
And really, no, not really. That was really redundant, is what that really was.
Really?
Really? No, not really. No, not really. But I think I need to make these smaller so it's using less stuff. What was I saying?
About the mic dropping off?
Oh, yeah, this is a unidirectional mic, like a proper unidirectional mic. So it's supposed to, as I move off to the side, you know, it goes like this, the pattern. So anything off to the side really drops off fast. And that's how it's supposed to be. That's why, and it's a dynamic mic, so that's why it's okay for us to eat the mic like this. Because there's not a huge change in the proximity effect.
Yeah.
And in a condenser mic, I would sound a lot more bassy than I do right now by getting right up on it.
I need to get one of those mics from you if I'm going to be recording here most of the time.
Yeah, I thought I gave you a whole set, though.
You did. I brought it back when we interviewed Terry, and I haven't taken it back since.
Okay, so I've got one sitting around here somewhere. Oh,
yeah,
it's probably...
you should have 2 in your closet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because, I mean, not only that, but it gives you a similar sound to what I have.
Yeah, exactly. Although I don't think I listened to the last episode and the episode before. I really don't sound bad. I mean, I obviously sound like I'm calling in, but
actually, no, you sound better than calling in. Calling in is an incredibly low bit rate.
You know what, Remington?
I'm telling you, you sound better than calling in. You're better than that.
You got what I fucking meant.
But no, I don't mind that mic at all. I think it's an okay mic for podcasting.
But if we do video and I'm sitting at my actual computer desk and I have that HD webcam and I have the thing in front of me, I'd look a lot more professional.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of times in the video, mine's down and out of the way here. I usually have it angled up a little bit.
No, keep moving it. I want it like right here.
But yeah, usually I have it right about here. So, and, you know, I'm still coming in about the same because the pattern is still right about here. Yeah. So I talk down, though. I talk down to the mic. You're a bad microphone. You're a dirty little... Who?
Fucking Remington. Always leaving in the middle of my solid gold manuscript jokes. It's like the solid gold dancers, but instead of dancers, it's me doing a robot voice pretending to be a manuscript. And this is what we have to deal with. And then this is why the podcast is consistently shitty, is because of Remington. If it were just me, it would be gold constantly. I'm like the Rumpelstiltskin of shitty stuff. I lock women in rooms and make them play with hay. And Remington, no, I'm not fooling anybody. Remington is my rock. He's the big hairy ball gag that's shoved into my mouth, but I can't complain. It's not bad. I mean, it's not great, believe me. It's when you get a man that hairy and you take any part of him into your mouth, shoulder, I'm not talking dirty, just shoulder or something, it is about what you would expect it to be. For good and bad, it's what you would expect it to be. But anyway, Remington's back, so let's say hello. Hey, Remington.
This is going to be an awkward thing for me to find out about editing later.
No.
Yeah, it is. My dingalinger was going off.
Yeah, what was that?
It was a dingalinger.
What's the purpose of the dingalinger?
To let people know.
Okay.
To let people know when other people are on my front porch or back porch.
Is it like a sensor?
Yeah. I got some motion sensor goodness up in my house now.
Why?
Because it was inexpensive and easy to do, and we don't have a damn doorbell.
So just when somebody's at your back or front porch, it chimes?
Yep.
That's going to be creepy as shit when you hear it at like 2 a.m.
Better to hear it at 2 a.m. and then not hear it at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Is it set where like animals can set it off though?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how sensitive the sensor is. I mean, I do, but I don't. I'm not an animal, so. But I mean, even still, if there's something trying to get into the. I mean, we don't have that problem around here, really. But if something wanted to come up and get into our stuff that's on the back porch, I mean, it's okay if I know about it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, you made bad font jokes, and that's where we're at. Okay. So after those terrible font jokes, how are you? How you doing? How's it been?
I'm doing pretty well, and things are pretty good.
Do that again, because all of a sudden you locked up for a second.
I'm doing pretty well. Things are pretty good, Remington. Thanks for asking.
I like how it did it a second time.
Should I talk slower?
I don't know if it's that or...
I'm doing pretty good, Remington. It wouldn't be my connection, would it?
It doesn't say that you're yellow. I'm going to close the script and then minimize that for now. Let me change this background.
Because I have a good internet out here.
Uh-huh.
But I think Bree is streaming HBO and Cody is playing Destiny Online. So I think they're kind of...
I mean, you could always turn off the video on your end.
Am I still...
I mean, you do cut out every once in a while in every episode anyway.
Okay.
So, I mean, since we're not recording video, there's no reason to have video. At least for me. I don't need to see your beautiful face. I gotta look at mine. But I know you like to see my face.
I'm gone.
Okay.
I can still see you, though.
Yeah. But that should take some of the buffering out.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I might be able to...
Now I can't make faces, though, which is unfortunate.
Well, I mean, you can make faces. I just won't enjoy them.
I won't be able to see them either.
Yeah, true.
I guess I'll need to place a mirror beside the laptop.
There you go.
Like a fucking parakeet.
There you go, buddy.
Trying to feed my reflection sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anyway.
That was a good Helvetica joke. Have a sandwich.
Okay.